Okay, let's try and move the chat to the bottom of the screen. Right, okay. Can you all see my screen? Everybody good? Okay, so let's crack on. Right, so how many of you have actually made your New Year's resolutions, you set your goals, they're all fired up, but actually, sort of 10 days later, they're all forgotten about, you haven't really managed to achieve anything and you're giving up. We know that sort of, well, only 9% of New Year's resolutions are actually going to get completed this year, and that most people are going to quit within the first week, and certainly by the end of January, a lot of people have given up. Is this you? Can you say hello and let me know that that's the situation for you? Do you find that yeah, okay, great. Helen, hi, Helen. Okay, so the point is that we want to make sure that our goals are really clearly defined, because when we don't know what our goals are, we can't take the right action. And when we can't take the right action, we're not going to progress, we're going to lack motivation, we're going to feel like we're struggling, we're going to feel overwhelmed, and that's when we're going to give up, right? So we need to make sure that our goals are really clearly defined, that we've got the vision of what we're trying to achieve. I love doing manifesting. I'm always one to manifest. I love journaling. I love writing things down and having vision boards. But if we don't have our specific goals that are going to generate the specific actions, then it's really hard for us to actually make progress and to actually see our goals develop. So now we're at the beginning of this webinar. What I want you guys to do is just share your goal with us. What goal have you got right now? What's your goal that you're going to sort of be working on for the next foreseeable future, the next couple of weeks? What are your goals? Anyone want to share your goals? Yeah. Okay. Okay, great. Okay. So in today's session, we're going to just cover quickly, why do goals fail? So it's obviously quite helpful for us to know why goals fail, because that way we're going to avoid the pitfalls of why these goals are going to fail. Then we're going to do my 5 steps. So the first step is we're going to visualize. We're going to work out what goal we're actually trying to achieve. Then we're going to be strategizing. Then we're going to be setting our boundaries. And then we're going to be vocalizing. And then the final step is setting our SMART goals, which will make a lot of sense by the time we get there. So make sure you've got your pen and paper ready. Okay. Right, so for those of you that don't know me, because there are a few new faces on here, I'm Lisa Swable. I'm a nutritional therapist. I've studied naturopathic nutrition at the College of Naturopathic Medicine in London. I've got about 10 years experience in the industry. I work with clients that have got chronic conditions, they've got wellness goals, maybe it's menopause support or IBS or weight loss, and it's healthy eating. It's a real ethos based on sort of using whole foods and, food as medicine. It's very holistic with a big base in sort of functional medicine, but it's also quite clinical because we use a lot of scientific studies and research and testing as well. And I work with clients one-to-one, and I do events, and I also have my membership, which is Eat Better, Feel Better, which some of you are members of, so you already know about that, and I'm going to talk a bit more about that at the end. Okay, so why do most goals fail? So I put down that there's loads and loads of reasons why goals will fail, but what I've managed to do is kind of split them into 4 main categories that you can see here. So the first reason why a lot of goals fail is because we are all lazy, habitual creatures of comfort. And I know that sounds quite insulting, but just go with me on this one. When we were cave women, thousands of years ago, living in the cave, we were naturally, our brains wanted us to conserve energy and to be, to protect ourselves so that we would stay alive, to be, to be safe from predators and things like that. So because of that, we are naturally genetically inclined to want to conserve calories, to conserve energy, because we wouldn't necessarily know where our next meal was coming from. And we also to be habitual, to have our routine so that we knew where we were safe and where we could sort of, relax and feel safe. And then when we would go out to sort of hunt and whatever, but the rest of the time we needed to be somewhere that was safe. So we like to be very habitual. We're very tribal as well. If you go back to genetics, we're very tribal animals. And we like to be in our comfort zones. We don't like to be pushed out of that comfort zone. So one reason why a lot of girls fail is because we're always trying to fight our cavewoman brain, which is keeping us in this lazy, safe comfort zone where we feel secure and where we feel like we're going to be preserving our lives. I hope that makes sense. Right. So the other reason why a lot of girls fail is because we've got distraction overload. It's so hard to focus on our specific goals because there's so much going on. And I actually heard a really great statistic not long ago, which says that the average person today will have more information in one day than somebody born in the 1700s would experience in their whole lifetime, because we've got so much stimulus and information being thrown at us all the time. It's just a complete overload. Our brains cannot cope with it. And because of that, it makes it really hard for us to focus on our goals and what we're trying to achieve. Another reason can be because your goals might be too ambitious. So of course, if you're somebody that's never run before, you can't even run around the block, but you say in 2 months' time you're going to run a marathon, clearly that's, you haven't allowed enough time to progress and to develop. You've been over ambitious, too ambitious, and it's going to mean that you're setting yourself up for failure. Sometimes our goals are too ambiguous and it's not clear, and therefore we go off in all different directions and we're not strategic in what we're actually doing. And then sometimes our goals can actually be too vague, and therefore we don't really know what direction we're going in because our goals are just not really sort of giving us that strategy, that clear path for progression. And then the final one that I want to share with you is that we are all set up to fail with modern society. If you think about how we've got, industrial food manufacturers, we've got the TV with all the adverts on, and the people making all these foods, obviously we're thinking about people who want to eat more healthily, if their goal is weight loss or sort of eating foods that are going to support certain health goals. It's really hard for us because all the industrial food manufacturers, they're making these foods that are chemically enhanced to hit our sweet spot and our bliss point and to make us crave more and more and more. So it's really, really hard for us to fight that. So really modern life is almost setting us up to fail. So these are 4 reasons, big sort of umbrella reasons why sometimes it's really hard for us to stick to our goals. So when we're writing our goals for the next few minutes, we need to keep these in mind, and we need to try and avoid these pitfalls to make sure that we can actually achieve our goals. So these are our 5 steps to create successful, achievable, and effective goals. And these are also going to get you quick results so that you are feeling motivated and you're able to progress along a natural journey to get to where you want to be. So the first one is visualize, then we've got strategize, we've got boundaries, vocalize, and then smart. So we're going to move on with that. Anyone got any questions? Any thoughts? Anything you want to share? Okay. I can't actually see the chat, which is a bit annoying. Right. Okay. So step 1 is to visualize. Okay. So now we know what we're up against. We know the pitfalls that we need to avoid to create our goals. The first part of the steps of achieving our goals is to actually be able to visualize. Oh, great. I can see the chat now. Is to be able to visualize our goals and what we're trying to achieve. Okay. So when we have this visualization, it gives us the end goal of where we want to be, and it gives us the steps to actually progress. So the first thing that I want you to do is I want you to think about where your motivation is coming from. Okay, so we have got different types of motivation. We've got our extrinsic motivation, which is coming from outside of us, and our intrinsic motivation, which is coming from within us. So our extrinsic motivation might be that all our friends around us are, losing weight and looking good, and that's a motivation. That's the reason why we want to make a change. Or maybe we've got an event coming up and we want to be able to wear the dress that's hanging in our cupboard, and we want to be able to fit into it. When we look at our intrinsic motivation, these are going to be things that are really much more sort of personal to you. So it's things like you want to you've got raised cholesterol and you want to lower your cholesterol because you don't want to end up having the heart disease that your parents or your grandparents had, something like that. So it's much more of an internal reason and much more like an internal motivation that's driving you to want to achieve this goal. And when you want to really sort of achieve genuine motivation for something, you want to tap into these intrinsic reasons. We want to find out our true why so that we can have this clarity on why we're trying to achieve this goal and we're not being too vague. So what we want to do is we want to move from the extrinsic motivators to the intrinsic one so that we can really take the positive action that we need to take. So this is going to make sense as we go through the first exercise. Right, so the first thing I want you to do is I want you with your pen and paper to draw a little avatar of yourself, okay? So this is you. I have used Canva for this because I'm a useless drawer, but if you're artistic, you can draw a beautiful self-portrait, you can annotate it however you want to do. But what I want you to do is I want you to have a little avatar and I want it to represent you. And what you're going to do is around this avatar, I want you to write all the reasons why you want to achieve the goal you want to achieve. So think about your extrinsic, but of course also your intrinsic reasons. What has driven you to come today and write your goal? What is the reason why you want to achieve what it is that you're trying to achieve? And those are going to be slightly different reasons for everybody. So I'm going to give you a couple of seconds just to write down some of the reasons why you want to achieve these goals. And we're going to dig really deep into these as we go through. I'm going to give you a couple of seconds and I'm going to check the Q&A. Ah, the chat's disabled. Okay, well, can we, how do I enable it? I don't think it's disabled. Okay, otherwise you can just comment in the Q&A, that's fine. Not a problem. Okay, right, so this, let me just move this down to the side. Okay, so this is Claire. This is my avatar, and I've kind of done an amalgamation of the clients that I see in clinic, the members of Eat Better, Feel Better when they start with me, and a lot of sort of women that are sort of struggling right now with different things and what drives women to come into my group. So this is a sort of a typical client, if you like. So this is Claire. She struggles to lose weight. She's always tired. She's that sandwich generation, you know, she's got loads of different hats on. She's looking after aging parents, she's got kids at home, she's running a home, maybe, you know, she's working full time, she's got deadlines, trying to cook healthy meals. She finds that she's always relying on sort of coffee and sugar mid-afternoon to keep her going. You know, she's tired, she feels unattractive, it's affecting her libido. Maybe she's feeling bloated most of the day. Sometimes she's constipated. She worries about, you know, aging, and as she's getting older, she wants to make sure that she's, you know, vibrant and got, you know, a healthy, you know, older age and doesn't sort of have the infirmities that her parents or grandparents might have had. So obviously, I've put lots of different reasons on here. Some of these might, you know, sound familiar to you and some of them might not, but this is sort of an avatar that I'm going to work with to show you the example. Does anybody sort of resonate with some of these? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to draw a new avatar. So we're going to draw Claire for yourself. You're going to draw your avatar again. And this time I want you to think about if you make absolutely no changes and you don't do anything about the situation that you're in today, whatever's driven you to come on here and make these goals, I want you to think about if you don't make any action, you don't change anything, where you will be in 12 months' time. So I'll give you a couple of seconds to do that. Right. And I'll switch to my Claire. So this is Claire in a year's time. Poor Claire. She's taken no action. She hasn't done anything. Nothing's changed. So actually some of her situations got worse. Her weight crept up. So now the doctor's telling her her cholesterol's raised. Right? She's feeling burned out. She's gone past feeling tired. She's gone through fatigue and now she's feeling like she's about to burn out. She's never got time for herself. She regularly wants to have a nap in the afternoon because her energy is so low. She's got no motivation. You know, her gut issues have got worse and worse, and now she feels like she doesn't want to go out with her friend. You know, her relationship's suffering because she doesn't feel good in herself. So this is poor Claire, a year on, and she's made no changes, and this is where she is. So, you know, you might have some slightly different visions on here, some different motivation, but think about your goal, what you're trying to achieve, and what would happen if you don't make any changes for the next year, where you're going to be this time next year. Okay. Does anyone want to share in the Q&A sections? Anyone want to share something that they feel that, you know, if they don't take any action, what they're worried about experiencing this time next year, they haven't made any changes? Yeah. Okay, great. Brilliant. Okay, right. So I'm going to crack on. So now we've got Claire in a year's time if she does take action. And these are going to be your why. These are going to be your visualization of why you're doing it. So what you want to do is you really want to tap in to the other two avatars that you've drawn, you know, why you're making the changes you want to make, what would happen if you don't make any changes, and then the sliding doors version, if you like, the version of you if you do make these changes, and how you're going to feel about yourself. So obviously, you know, I'm simplifying it here, but, you know, because she has you know, she's managed to lose some weight. She's now got some good metabolic health markers. Her cholesterol is better. Her blood sugar is better. She's got more energy. She's got energy that's lasting all day. She's enjoying cooking again. She's enjoying her relationships again. She doesn't need sugar and caffeine to get through her day. Her bloating's gone. So you can see now we've got a real vision. This is where Claire, or you, wants to get to in a year's time. This is your visualization. This is your end goal. This is what you're working to get to. Okay. Right. So now we're moving on to step 2. So step 2 is strategize. So we visualize where we want to be, and now we need to think about strategizing so that we can make sure that we get to where we want to be. Okay. So how are we going to do this? We know, because we talked about why goals fail, we know that our cavewoman brain is going to try and keep us in this lazy, habitual comfort zone, right? Our brain and our body is going to do everything it can to stop us progressing and pushing out of our comfort zone and, you know, striving on to achieve the goals that we want to achieve. So we now need to think about what pitfalls are going to come up and derail us and stop us from achieving our goals. That's what the strategizing part is all about. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to think about what hurdles or challenges are going to come our way, and we need to work out what we're going to do to avoid those challenges. So what I want you to do is I want you on your piece of paper to draw a little table with 2 charts. I'll show you my one. Okay, this is my one with the challenge and the strategy. And we're going to think about the pitfalls that we're going to come across when we're trying to achieve our goal. And then we're going to think about the strategy that we can put in place to avoid the pitfall. So if I go back a slide, I can show you this example here, right? So this is an example of where we know that one of our pitfalls is that we like to snack late at night, okay? We know that after dinner, we're not really hungry, but our diet all goes to pot because we like to go into the fridge late at night and raid whatever's in there and eat all the sugary food, right? And a lot of people can relate to this one because I hear it a lot in clinic. A lot of people find that late night snacking is a real issue for them. So now what we want to do is we want to think, okay, so that's the reason why I often don't achieve my goal, because I give up and I have my late night snacking. So what can I do to avoid the late night snacking? So maybe it would be you'll distract yourself. You know, when we're trying to sort of change habits, one easy way to do that is to change the environment that we're in. So if sitting downstairs in the kitchen on the sofa means we're too near the fridge and it's too tempting, what can we do to stop that? Maybe we can go upstairs and have a bath. We can read a book. You know, if the trigger is sitting watching TV, maybe you could listen to a podcast or, you know, fold some laundry or do, you know, chat on the phone to a friend or take up a hobby. So trying to get yourself away from whatever normally triggers that derailment, that challenge for you. Another option you could do is you could think, okay, there's no way I can't not eat after dinner. I have to have something to eat after dinner. So instead of having the donuts and the cakes, whatever this lady in the picture's got here, I'm going to make sure that I've got some healthy snacks to hand. I'm going to have some nuts and some seeds or some fruit. I'm going to have something to hand so that when I do want to snack late at night or in the evening, I've got something healthy that's not going to completely derail my good intentions and my, you know, my goal. So that would be a strategy that you would put in place. You would think, okay, I'm going to take myself out of that room. And if I really want to eat, I'm going to have some nuts and seeds. So by having that sort of plan in advance, it's going to help you to stay on track and not be so derailed. So now we can go back to the table and you can see that, you know, we're thinking of the challenge that might stop us achieving our goal, and then we can think of the strategy that's going to help us. So another example might be that you know that very often your good intentions go to pot because you've come home from work, you're really tired, you don't know what you're cooking for dinner, and so you're going to grab a takeaway on the way home, and you know that's not going to be healthy, right? So what could be a good strategy to avoid that? Maybe you could try and do some, batch cooking on the weekend and put things in the freezer so that when you come home, you've got something easy to go for. Maybe you could do a little bit of meal planning. Maybe you could make sure that your fridge is stocked with easy, quick foods that you can cook in 5 minutes. Maybe you'll have a collection of 5-minute recipes. So things like that are going to mean that you're less likely to go for that takeaway. You're less likely to sort of succumb to that derailment. So another one I've put on here, like another example of mine is I've got, I always crave a can of Coke. So what am I going to do to try and stop that? I'm going to keep a bottle of water with me so that I don't get thirsty. So that if I do get thirsty, I can just be drinking my water, and hopefully that will distract me enough that I then don't want to have the can of Coke. So does anyone want to share a challenge that they might have? Anything that they think oh, well, that's a challenge of mine. So this is a strategy that I'm going to put into place to help me. You can share them with the group. But those sorts of strategies are really important. So having that kind of strategizing is going to really keep you on track to achieving your goal. Okay, right. So we've done step 1. We've visualized where we want to go. We've done step 2. We've worked out strategies for when we come up against those challenges and those pitfalls. So step 3 is about boundaries, right? Okay, so why are boundaries important? So boundaries are important because they frame our actions, okay? They're giving us a process to work out situations and how we are going to respond to those situations. They set our limits, they set our parameters, they give us our rules and our framework. So boundaries are really important when you're trying to set goals, okay? So I think with well-being, we have 2 really proper sort of types of boundaries. We have our negative boundaries and our positive boundaries. So these boundaries are going to form our framework of how we are actually going to enact our goal, and we're going to make our goal, come to fruition and progress. Okay, so these might be your non-negotiables. They're your standards that you're going to live by to achieve your goal. So an example of like a negative boundary might be, I'm not going to go out, more than twice a week after work, because I know when I go out for dinner and I'm drinking alcohol, that derails me. I'm not going to schedule, a work meeting before 9 a.m. so that I know I can go to the gym. I'm not going to eat after 8 p.m. to bring in my intermittent fasting, which is part of Eat Better, Feel Better. So it's bringing in those negative boundaries. I'm not going to do this. I won't do this, because that's setting a boundary of what you're not going to do. And then we also want to have our positive boundaries. So these are going to be things that are non-negotiable, that are part of your new routine to keep you on track for your goals. So depending on what your goals are, these boundaries are going to help you to get there. So for example, it might be, I am always going to have a high protein breakfast, or I am always going to schedule time in my diary to go to the gym, and that's non-negotiable. Or I'm always going to have 7 portions of vegetable to make sure I'm getting enough fiber in my diet. So whatever those positive boundaries are, you want to have a list of those as well. And these are going to create your rule book of how you're going to achieve the goal that you're trying to achieve. Okay, so these are some examples. So what you want to do is you want to write down your list of your negative boundaries and your positive boundaries, and these are your rules. And I would say you probably don't really want more than 6, like I've put here, because otherwise it's just going to get a bit overwhelming. And you might also find that you tweak these rules. As some of these rules and boundaries become habits and routine that you don't really have to think about, maybe you'll take them off your list because they're natural habits to you now, and you'll replace it with something else. But this will give you your initial framework that you can start to use to build your steps for your goal. Okay. Let's give you a couple of minutes just to write those down. Right. Okay. Right, we're all whizzing through these. Okay, so step 4 is vocalize. Okay, so we've visualized our goal, we've strategized about any pitfalls that we're going to have, and we've created our framework, our boundaries. So the last part of what we're going to have to do before we actually write our goals is we're going to talk about vocalizing. Okay, so this is because the voice that we hear most often is the voice that's in our own head, okay? So when I talk about vocalizing, I'm talking about the voice that comes inside here that we listen to too much sometimes, okay? So we all have that little devil and angel on our shoulders, right? And these are the voices that we're listening to all the time. So we need to make sure that the voice that we're listening to is constructive and it's positive and it's going to help us to achieve our goals. Okay. Remember, we've got this cave woman brain, right? We've got this brain that's telling us, you don't need to get on the treadmill. You don't need to go to the gym. You don't need to eat the salad. You really want the chocolate. You know, this is the cave woman brain that's trying to conserve energy and get more calories and be lazy and stay in the safe zone, right? But we obviously, in order to achieve our goals, we need to push past this cave woman brain. We need to go into the more positive role model inside our head, okay? And some people find it really helpful to give that little devil, that negative voice, a name and give it almost like a character. So, you know, you can picture like a little, I don't know, little fluffy creature that's going, and then you can give it a name and you can say, right, that's Bob. Bob, shut up, go away. I'm not listening to you. And I'm going to listen to the positive voice that's in my head. And I'm going to have that positive reinforcement all the time that I'm doing the right thing. So what I want you to do is I want you to think about some of the common things that the negative voice, your little devil, will say in your head that stops you and causes that kind of self-sabotage moment, okay? So it might be, oh, look at you. You're so fat. Why are you bothering to diet? Why don't you just go and have that chocolate? Or you've had a day where maybe, you know, you haven't, you know, really been so on track, you know, something's happened and you've ended up having, you know, someone's birthday in the office and you've had a piece of cake, you know, oh, that little voice go, oh, look, you can't even manage not to have the cake. What's the point in doing this? Why bother? You don't have the willpower. You're not worth it. All of this voice comes down and down and down. If you whittle it down, it's telling you that you're not worth it, right? You can't do it. You can't achieve it. And that little voice eats away and erodes that sort of motivation all the time. And it's really negative and it's there all the time. Okay. And we need to turn that off. We need to make sure that we're having a positive dialogue with ourselves all the time. And that starts off quite consciously. You have to kind of really do it with effort. But after a while, it does become more natural. So, you know, people talk about looking in the mirror and saying, you are beautiful, I love you, you know, like that positive affirmation, that positive reinforcement is really important. So, you know, say it to yourself in the car when you're on your own, you know, say it in the shower or just say it quietly inside your head. But just that voice is really, really important because that is what's going to help to keep you on track and to stop that cycle of self-sabotage that a lot of people fall to. So think about, you know, saying to yourself, you can do this, take one step at a time, you're worth it, you're lovable, you're valued. You know, we don't tell ourselves these things often enough. We'll say it to our kids, we might say it to our partner, we'll say it to our best friends, but we don't say it to ourselves. So I want you to make the voice in your head your best friend, okay? I want you to be kind to yourself and encouraging to yourself rather than being negative to yourself and getting you on that cycle of self-sabotage. All right, does that sound familiar? Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. So we are ready to write our SMART goals. Okay. So we've got to this place now where we can write all our SMART goals. Okay. So we've visualized where we want to be, right? We've got that idea in our head. This is our goal, and we've got our intrinsic motivations. We know exactly why we are trying to achieve this goal, right? We've got our strategies in place that's going to stop us from sort of falling at the first hurdle and derailing us. We've got our plan in place of how we're going to deal with certain pitfalls that we can predict, right? Then we've got our little framework. We've got our positive and our negative boundaries that are going to give us a little bit of a framework, a bit of guidance on how we're going to implement this. And then we've got the positive best friend voice in our head giving us this encouragement. We can do this. We can achieve this. Okay. So now we are ready to write our goals. So this is how you make your goal stick and effective and sustainable and to get yourself the results that you're looking for. Your goal has to be SMART, okay? So SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-based, right? So specific, when you're thinking about what you're trying to achieve, you want to be really specific and narrow with what the goal is. It's no good saying, oh, I want to get healthy. No, you have to think, go back to your avatar, go back to your visualization exercise you did in part 1 and think, why am I doing this? What is my actual genuine goal here? Okay. Then you want to be able to track and measure your progress, because how are you going to know that you're on the right track and that you're actually achieving something if you can't measure it? Okay. So think about how you're going to measure it, how you're going to track it. And this is going to also help you to move on to the next stage and progress on your journey. Okay. The goal has to be achievable, right? So you still want to be a little bit ambitious. You still want to push yourself outside your comfort zone, because that's how you make change and you get results. You have to come outside of that comfort zone. But you also need to, be a little bit sensible. Can you reasonably accomplish the goal that you're setting yourself? If I go back to the marathon running goal, it's no good saying, oh, I've never run down the road, but I'm going to run a marathon in 2 months' time. It's not achievable. You can't reasonably accomplish that. So maybe set yourself a 5K goal and do the marathon next time, or build up to it in stages, to think about what is achievable. It needs to be relevant, because if your goal isn't relevant, you're not going to have the motivation to stick with it. Okay. So I want you to really think about, how does this goal align with your values and your vision? So again, go back to your avatar, go back to the version of you if you don't make the change, the version of you if you do make the change. Is this goal going to get you to the second version, the happy version? Okay. Is it relevant? Is this actually the goal that you want to achieve? Okay. Don't just put, oh, I keep using the weight example, but I don't want to, don't say, oh, I want to lose weight because you just think everybody should want to lose weight. Come up with a goal that's really relevant to you, your values, your vision, and what you need to achieve, what intrinsically is important to you. Okay. Then the last one is time-based. And this is important, because if you don't have a time schedule, you don't have that focus, you don't have that drive, okay? So again, just like with being achievable, with the time-based part, you want to be realistic, but slightly ambitious, because it's no good saying something that you could achieve in 2 weeks and you're going to give yourself 2 months to do it, because you're just going to lose the impetus, you're going to lose the drive to actually achieve this goal. Okay, so be realistic, but just a little bit ambitious, so that again, you're coming slightly out of your comfort zone. Okay. So what I want you to do now is I want you to think about your goal, and I want you to write it down using the SMART formula. Okay, so it might take a few sentences. Excuse me, it might take a few sentences to write the whole goal. And I think this is really important, because the detail is what is going to get you the result. Like I said before, if your goal is, I want to run a marathon, there's no detail there. It's too short. It's not, what does that mean? Okay. So I want you to really think about using the 4 steps that we've already done: your vision, your strategy, your boundaries, your best friend voice in your head, and the SMART formula, to really write a goal that you can work for and focus on. So using my marathon example here, okay, this is using the SMART formula. So it's specific. I want to start training every day to run a marathon. Is it measurable? So I'm going to use my fitness app, my watch, to track my training, and I'm going to increase my mileage as I get fitter. I'm going to see that today I ran a mile more than I ran yesterday. Okay. Is it attainable? Well, I've run 5K before. I know I can run. And, if I give myself enough time, yes, I believe I can achieve a marathon. It's a bit of an ambition, but yes, it is attainable. Is it relevant? Well, yes, because my goal is to improve my health and to improve my cardiovascular fitness, because my cholesterol's raised, and my dad's got heart disease, and my cardiovascular health is very important to me. So yes, this is relevant to my goals and my visions of what I'm trying to achieve. Then we're going to make it time bound. Okay, so the marathon's on a set day. I know I've got 6 months to train for this marathon. So this is giving me my deadline. Okay. So now, can you see how, instead of just saying, oh, I'm going to run a marathon this year, by saying I'm going to train every day to run a marathon, I'm going to use the app to track it. I'm going to achieve this because I know I can run already, to some degree. And I'm doing this because I want to really improve my heart health, and I've got till June to achieve this. Now you've got a framework, right? And then if you go back and you think about your strategies, okay, So what pitfalls might I have? Oh, I'm going to wake up and it's going to be too cold and I'm not going to want to go out in the rain and run. Okay, so what are you going to do? Maybe you'll make sure that you've got your waterproof running gear by the bed in the morning, ready to go. Okay, or maybe you'll say to your partner, have a cup of tea ready for me in an hour when I'm back because I'm going to be cold and I'm going to want a cup of tea. Whatever is going to help you to motivate you to get outside and do that run, you need to think about those pitfalls. Or maybe it will be, oh, I'm going to be too hungry. Okay, how can you avoid that? Make sure you've got a snack on you so that, you know, you can have a snack halfway through your training session or something. So think about those pitfalls, you know, be that encouraging voice in your head, and this is how you're going to achieve this goal. So I've done one here again for losing weight because, again, it's a really common one I see in clinic. So instead of just saying, I want to lose weight, it's too vague, right? We're going to be specific. I want to lose weight because I want to buy a nice dress for my sister's wedding, right? How am I going to measure this? I'm going to lose £1 a week. I've got 9 weeks. So if I lose £1 a week and I've lost £9, that's my goal. That's where I want to be. Okay. And I'm going to weigh myself daily to track this. Don't necessarily love the weighing daily, but for this purpose, because it's a short period of time, we want to make sure we're achieving, it's a good way to track it. Is this attainable? Well, yes, we know that £1 a week of weight loss is a really healthy rate. It's achievable, it's sustainable, and it's, you know, it's accomplishable. Okay. How am I going to do it? I'm going to follow the Eat Better, Feel Better framework, obviously. And is it relevant? Well, yes, because I want to improve my health anyway, and I want to feel more energized, and I want to buy this nice dress for my sister's wedding. And is it timely? That's fallen off the bottom of the page. But is it timely? Well, yes, because I know when my sister's wedding is. It's in 9 weeks. So yes, there's a time deadline set to this goal. So can you see from going to, oh, I want to lose weight, we've now got this vision of where we want to be. And we've got this set goal. It's £1 a week. And I'm going to do it this way. And then I'm going to put my strategies in place. So if my late night eating's a problem, I know what I'm going to do to avoid that. And this is how you're going to actually make the I want to lose weight goal achievable. Okay. Right, so here are some tips for writing your own SMART goals, okay? Where you can, keep it simple, okay? So although you do want to be detailed and you want to be clear and you want to be, you know, a little bit ambitious and push yourself out of your comfort zone, at the same time, be simple. Like, don't overcomplicate things where you don't need to, because that's just going to lead to overwhelm, okay? Sometimes it's really helpful to create different stages and then reward yourself. So if, for example, going back to the marathon example, so, you know, maybe you'll say, okay, so I want to get to 5K in 2 weeks and I'm going to get to 10K in a month. So you're giving yourself those incremental stages that are getting you towards your goal for the right time, for the right deadline. And when I say reward yourself, obviously don't think about rewarding yourself with a McDonald's and a piece of cake. Think about how you can reward yourself. Maybe you're going to have a sports massage, or maybe you're, you know, buy a really lovely, you know, Epsom salt for a nice soak in the bath to, you know, ease your muscles from all the running. Think about, you know, some self-care rewards and things that are going to really give you that impetus to carry on. Know your limits and respect them. You know, yes, we want to push out of our comfort zone. Yes, we want to achieve something and be really proud of ourselves, but you've got to know what your limits are. You know, if you're somebody that you know, has maybe, you know, physical ailments, you know, maybe you've got a really bad back or, you know, joint problems, then clearly trying to run a marathon is not an appropriate goal for you. So keep your goals appropriate to you. Don't let the setbacks pull you down and totally derail you. Okay, nobody's perfect. These setbacks are a really important part of the journey because they help you to reevaluate and become more effective. Okay, so when something doesn't go well, use your best friend voice in your head and think, okay, that didn't work today, what went wrong? Strategize and bring something in so that particular setback doesn't happen again for you. Okay, setbacks are really valuable learning experiences, so don't let those become the reason why you get derailed. Okay, write your SMART goal down. Okay, I want you to write it down and have it everywhere, because the more you see it, the more it's going to remind you, the more it's going to reinforce everything. So maybe save it as a screensaver on your phone, have it on a piece of paper on the mirror where you brush your teeth, put it on the fridge door, put it in your car, you know, try and have it in places so that you see this goal several times over the course of the day, and it keeps reminding you this is what you're doing. You could even have your avatar from the first step. You know, that avatar, I would put the positive one up personally, because I want to have the positive reinforcement all the time. But I would look at the Claire from, you know, for a year's time, if she makes the changes, and I'd look at that, you know, as much as I can as well, to remind me why I'm doing this. This is my why, this is my motivation, this is my goal, right? The other thing I would say is really try to immerse yourself in the world of whatever it is that your goal is. So if you're looking to run a marathon, then, you know, maybe follow people on social media that are runners, maybe pop and go and see, like, you know, some running gear shops and try on all the different gear, and maybe do some research on running trainers, maybe listen to a podcast about somebody that you know did train for a marathon and how they felt. You know, join a community on Facebook or on whatever social media platform, or, you know, an in-person community in your local area. By immersing yourself in that world and having all those different touch points, it really does help to reinforce your goal, and it really helps keep you on track. So don't do it on your own. Find these other ways of bringing this into your world and to making it part of your world. Okay. Okay. So what I actually want you to do is I want you to look now at the goal you wrote right at the very beginning of this webinar, which was probably quite vague. And then I want you to look now at your SMART goal that you've just written. And can you see how much more more effective, and how much you're going to get better results from the SMART goal that you've written, how you've now got already, you've got a strategy, you've got a framework, you've got a time frame, you've got a vision, and all these things are going to help that goal to become so much more achievable and sustainable for you. Yeah, you can see that? Okay, great. Okay, so please do obviously go back and maybe, you know, revisit the drawings of your avatar. Can you add some more points in? Can you elaborate on things? You know, think about your strategies. You know, if another potential pitfall comes up, put it on your list. You know, keep these pieces of paper and keep referring back to them, because they're going to help you to stay on track. They're going to form your pathway for your goal so that you can actually achieve your goal. Okay. So now you've set your goal, I want to help you to achieve them, okay? Because obviously I'm assuming that most of you, your goals, because you've come through to me, are to do with nutrition and well-being and health and wellness. So what I want to recommend to you is that you come on to my Eat Better Feel Better membership. It's effective, it's easy, it's sustainable, and it's going to help you to achieve your goals. And some of the people in this webinar, you know, in the participating tonight, are members of Eat Better Feel Better, so hopefully they can all endorse and say how good Eat Better Feel Better is. And the way that Eat Better Feel Better helps you to achieve your goal is because I make it super, super easy, right? There's done for you templates. So there's things like shopping lists, there's meal plans, there's recipes, there's handouts for how to get a good night's sleep, there's handouts for, you know, how to have a good routine, you know, it's everything's done for you. It's super, super easy. So all you have to do is read it and implement it. Okay, so now you've got your goal, you can pick the steps that are going to help you to achieve that goal. Like I said, another tip is to immerse yourself in the world and the community of the people that are trying to achieve the same goal as you. So by being part of Eat Better Feel Better, you're in a big Facebook group with other like-minded people, and we're all there to give support. It's a really active group, and there's lots of accountability. I'm in there, so 24/7, you can ask a question, you can get support, get advice, and so that's really going to help you to keep on track. And there's an opportunity to get more personalized nutrition support and for your specific health needs, which I'm going to explain a bit more about. So, and actually Eat Better Feel Better members, this is a little preview because this is what's coming next week for you guys. But I've mapped out the Eat Better Feel Better journey as 5 stages for you. So you can see stage 1 to 3 are all about getting you probably to where your goal is right now, okay? So getting you to the SMART goal that you've written today. So we have reset and remove. So looking at sort of resetting our brain, resetting our goals, resetting our mindset, resetting our blood sugar, and balancing things out, and removing the junk food and, you know, that kind of thing. Stage 2 is all about renourishing, bringing all the nutrients in that we need, you know, the fiber and the protein and the healthy fats, and understanding all of those and bringing all the nutrients back into the body that we need, and also relieve. So looking at things like relieving gut issues, relieving sort of energy blocks and things like that. So stage 2. So by the time you get to stage 3, you should be in a really positive mindset. You should be balanced with your blood sugar. Your energy should be great. You should be sleeping better. Gut issues should be feeling better. So these are all the different stages. And then stage 3 is about balancing your hormones and to support to support your gut health. You know, maybe to support your immune function. Looking at hormone balance and things like that. So then, once you sort of achieve that and you get into stage 4, which is the personalized part. So say you've got issues with IBS, right? So there's support in the Eat Better, Feel Better membership. There's support for how to deal with issues with gut health, like constipation or bloating, or, you know, how to deal with sugar cravings, or maybe you've got an autoimmune condition, you know, underactive thyroid, or diabetes. You've got to balance your blood sugar even more carefully. So at stage 4, you can get really personalized and really start to sort of hone in on whatever your specific need might be. And then stage 5 is sustain. So stage 5 is hopefully you've gotten to a really good place, you've achieved your goals, and how are you going to maintain and sustain this achievement and to stay on track, which I know is also, you know, it's a really big part of this. Okay, and then the idea is that between stage 4 and 5, you can kind of chop and change between the 2 stages, because, you know, maybe you're at sustain stage, and then unfortunately, maybe you catch a really bad bug and you're really ill, and so you go back to stage 4 and you might personalize supporting your immune function for a while. Or maybe you're in sustain and then menopause hits, so you want to go back to stage 4 and start personalizing your hormone balance. So there's always times, you know, real life comes in, you know, things change. So the idea is that once you've sort of really established what stages 1 to 3, you can kind of be on sustain and then bring back the personalized support as you need it. So what do you get in the membership? So as you get every month, it's all run through my Eat Better, Feel Better community on Facebook. So each month you get 2 new meal plans, which have shopping lists and recipes. So you get 2 of those every month, and they're full of healthy recipes, really, really nutritious, whole foods, you know, no junk, really great recipes. You get a weekly live with me where we talk about anything to do with Eat Better, Feel Better. So we'll look at blood sugar balance, we'll look at getting a good night's sleep, we'll look at hormone balance. What else? We look at loads of different things, you know, goal setting, mindset, context, I can't think, but loads of different things. And I think the last one I did, because it was just before Christmas, I talked about how to survive the Christmas holidays and strategies for, you know, staying on track over the extended Christmas period. We'll talk about how to sort of manage being on holiday, things like that. So anything that sort of comes up, that's in the weekly lives. And like I say, I'm there 24/7 for support and advice and accountability. I've also got these 3 bundles when you sign up. So the first bundle is all about Eat Better. So it's making it really super, super easy for you to eat better. There's shopping list, there's meal planning guide, there's an eating out guide, there's some recipes for having lunch on the go, there's some breakfast recipes, there's 1-pan dinner recipes. So there's a really great bundle that just straight away you can go in there and you can start straight away eating better. Okay. Sign up bundle number 2 is all about Feel Better. So it's helping you to get a better night's sleep. It's tricks for creating a good morning routine so that you've got regular energy throughout the day. There's some breath work support there, and there's also some journal prompting if you want to do some journaling. And the third bonus, which is the limited bonus, is that you get a free session with me on Zoom, so a free one-to-one consultation. And there's only a few of those, and some of them have already gone. So if you want to take advantage of that one, then you do need to sort of sign up quickly and book your consultation quickly. But if you sign up soon, you will. There is still some slots available, so you get a free one-to-one session with me to really hone in and properly personalize from day one your plan and what you're going to achieve. So this is what some of the members have said already. I've got loads of testimonials I can share with you, but they were getting smaller and smaller on the screen. So I've put these ones up, but, you know, basically it's a really lovely community. There are some members on here, so hopefully they can say, yes, join, it's brilliant. So hopefully you found today really helpful, because I know I've gone over a little bit. I hope that you've managed to set some really good goals some SMART goals, some effective goals, some goals that are really going to help you to achieve what you're looking to achieve for 2024. And I will send all this information out to you shortly by email. So if you want to join Eat Better, Feel Better, I'd love to have you there. It'd be lovely to have you and welcome you into the community. And please do let me know your thoughts and how you found this. And also just to say, if you want to stay in touch, I don't know, some of you come through to this webinar from different avenues. So just to point out, I do have Lisa Swable Nutrition on Facebook, which is a massive public Facebook group. That's absolutely free to join, to come on there, and I'm always posting tips on there. I've got my Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn sometimes, my website, and if you go through the website, you get a prompt to subscribe, and then you get added to my mailing list, and once a week I send out a recipe, and then there's also lots of helpful tips and hints throughout the year. So I hope that's been really helpful. I hope you feel like you've got some really good goals and really clear strategy in place for what you want to achieve for the coming year. And thank you very much for joining me tonight. And I will see you all very soon.